I appreciate the invitation to be here, and it really worked out well for us because we been in Tulsa for a couple of days and have to be in Tulsa for something this afternoon. So this worked out really wonderful for us for timing. And I have had the opportunity as Lieutenant Governor to participate in a couple of other, 2 or 3, about one a year, I think, Women in Ag conferences that have been put on over here on the eastern half of the state. And so I hope most of you are from the Muskogee region. If you have been in McAllister or Poto when I spoke, I hope you have short-term memory. And because I'm not even sure what I said when I was there. So we'll just see how it goes today. But I'm delighted to be here at the beginning of your conference to tell you a little bit from my perspective, from someone who does not come from an ag production background, but someone who does come from a family of small business owners who believe in the family farm, and actually we do own some property, and I just am fortunate to have good cousins that help take care of it for us. But my role as Lieutenant Governor has given me two specific hats to wear that to me make it important for me to pay attention to what you all want to do, to what you all currently do, to what these experts or professionals in the field talk to you about. Two hats that I wear that make me pay attention to what's going on with women in agriculture and women in small business. And one of those is clearly the hat that I wear as chair of Oklahoma's Tourism Commission. Because when I was in the legislature and when Ryan McMullen was a state representative, I think Ryan, you were there when we really got the Office of Agritourism going. And there was a lot of interest in it. There was a lot of belief that Oklahoma could do more to help our ag producers, those who lived on farms and for whatever reason believed they needed to do something more with their property, with the enterprise. Was there something they wanted to totally change to? Or was there something they could do that would complement, would supplement the agricultural production that was going on their property? And so between the ag community and some in the tourism office, following some of the examples of other states, Oklahoma created the Office of Agritourism, and I believe began to put some emphasis, some expertise, some resources behind being able to help answer questions for those who wanted to engage. And I think it may not be exactly accurate. I'm coming from the southwest part of the state, so my observation from over there is that some of those first forays into agritourism really began about this time of year. And they kind of began with folks who would grow maize or corn or something and then figure out a way to cut a maize, cut paths through it so that through the fall season, maybe on hay rides or Halloween parties or fall parties, kids would come out, maybe adults would come out, and they would have a good time just trying to find their way through whatever puzzle had been cut through that crop. And we have seen that kind of agritourism venture expand into so many other areas in our state. We now have, I forget, over 500 different farms and ranches who have identified themselves as an agritourism attraction. Some of those you will see advertised along our highways as vineyards and wineries. Some of them even have really catchy names like Girls Gone Wine down in southeast Oklahoma, north of Broken Bow. I've been there, it's worth the stop. As chair of tourism, that's why I was there. Small business advocate for the state, checking them out. But it's an opportunity to step inside and see what people are doing in their local communities that they believe gives them a chance to participate in a venture that it gives them more to do with their property, or as small business people, gives them an opportunity to fill a niche in their area that has not yet been met. So I am real excited about what Oklahoma has been able to do with agritourism for a couple of reasons. One, I think it encourages travel within the state of Oklahoma. I think people who already live here, sometimes we're the ones who don't see what we have. And so agritourism gives us a chance to see within the state, take shorter trips. But it also encourages visitors from out of state to come to Oklahoma. And anything that we can do to encourage visitors spurs the economy in that local area, but it also helps create advertising. It helps create, because the best advertising is word of mouth. And so if someone visits these attractions and has an opportunity to share their experience with other family members, with someone at work, after they return home, if they come from another state and they have a chance to talk about it when they go back, then that enhances the image of the state of Oklahoma. And everything that we can do to enhance our image improves the economy in our state. It improves job creation. It improves the willingness of if our young people think our state has a good image, they'll choose to stay here. They always think they want to go to a state that they think has a different image than where they came from. So anything we can do to enhance Oklahoma's image helps us in many different ways. And so I'm always really pleased to see how many different kinds of agritourism ventures or businesses we have in different regions of the state. One of the things we do know, whether you're talking a community in southwest Oklahoma or a community over here in the eastern side of the state, if you're talking rural Oklahoma, I can guarantee you agriculture has some basis for your local economy. There are people who are depending upon the ag community, whether it is just strictly from ag production, but I know bankers are dependent on what's going on in the ag community in these rural areas. And as the ag community goes, so go many of our communities, so go many of our smaller towns and cities in our state. So anything that you can do to enhance your knowledge, to become better prepared, to be able to figure out how to make your business do better, helps our small towns and cities in our state, and that's important. Tulsa, Oklahoma City are important to Oklahoma, but for us to be strong, I believe our small towns, our small communities have to have thriving economies as well. So I want to thank you for being here today so that you have an opportunity to learn something that perhaps you can take back and help make your community stronger by your own business being stronger. Agritourism is really growing in Oklahoma. And I will tell you one of the reasons that we see it, whether it is people that are taking properties and turning them into a spa or a place to visit like Canebrake, whether they're turning it into a working farm or ranch opportunity, is because many of you who are here may have had family members who maybe you grew up on a family farm. But reality is that our general population maybe 2 or 3 generations removed from what that family farm was to our grandparents, maybe to our parents. And yet many of us want our children or grandchildren to have that same kind of rural experience, the getting the hands dirty, the growing the crops, the learning the values that comes from much of that rural life. We want that. And yet if economies or our own business or our careers have taken us off of that farm, then we have removed ourselves and we're no longer in that chain of title. We're no longer connected to that family farm. So we are seeing more and more of my generation wanting to take their children and grandchildren back to those opportunities and let them pick pumpkins, or let them go find a Christmas tree to cut down, or let them go pick strawberries, or peanuts, or whatever it is. People are being creative to give an opportunity for paid visitors to come. So it helps in many ways. It helps the local landowner, the local farmer. It helps the opportunity of providing some additional revenue because we know, your income if you're in agriculture is never certain. But it also provides an opportunity, a learning experience, and anything we can do to help our children learn about what goes on in agriculture, what their pioneer grandfathers or great-grandfathers or great-grandmothers may have participated in, helps enrich Oklahoma's heritage. And so that is one of the reasons that we're seeing an increase in agritourism opportunities. By the financial benefits are, as we stated, it provides an opportunity, usually an admission price, to be able to come in and experience life on the farm. And these are revenues that are not dependent upon commodity prices, and they're a little bit more sure. If you are the farm owner, if you are the landowner, these extra revenues give you a better likelihood of making your mortgage payments, of making the payments so that you have an opportunity to retain that farm and be able to pass it on to another generation. And that's important as we see more and more of our families get themselves in a financial situation where they have to divest themselves of ownership. And that's just a heartbreak when we lose that connection with the land. So agritourism in many places gives us a chance to add one more generation to that family farm ownership. Now, this is a Women in Ag conference, and I know that there are some in here that are not just on the program, but let me tell you one thing that is also happening, and the women in agriculture have known this for years. If you are a woman and you are actively involved in your farming operations, then you have an opportunity to be what is often called a stay-at-home mom. You often have that opportunity to be working at home, working the land, and so when your kids get home from school, you're close by. Now, that doesn't happen all the time because many times the economic situation requires both parents to be employed, and sometimes that employment takes often the woman off of the farm into the community where she has a job in a retail or commercial, someplace in town. And so if we are able to create these agritourism opportunities, any kind of these agribusinesses that can be done from your home, give you a chance to be at home. And as we see in today's family values, being able to have a parent close to home when a child gets out of school is important on many levels. And so this is another benefit that sometimes I don't hear people talk about, but having that chance to be a stay-at-home mom is a good thing. And that extra income is always good as you begin to try to save for retirement. And the way that the economy goes, anybody that's been just depending upon their own investments for retirement knows that they are probably not retiring as soon as they thought they would because those dollars have diminished. And so we have to figure out ways to supplement our incomes, and these extra dollars can be very helpful. Now, you know that July 28th this year in Oklahoma City, I had an opportunity to attend a big vendor conference that was going on at the Cox Center. And it was put on by the Oklahoma Petroleum Marketers and Convenience Stores Association. And it had vendors from all around Oklahoma and from other places who sell their products in or hope to sell their products out of these convenience stores or gas stations. And one of the biggest booths, the biggest area there, was the organization called Made in Oklahoma. And I don't know if any of you in the room today manufacture a product that is promoted and sold through Made in Oklahoma, but I would encourage you to investigate Made in Oklahoma. They've got a website, MIO, you can find it. Made in Oklahoma, it just reminds me of what my dad taught me while we were growing up. He had a business on Main Street. It was a land title business. It was not retail. And when the holidays would come, when Christmas would come, and my mother might think about wanting to go to Lawton or Wichita Falls or Oklahoma City to shop, Dad would say, buy local, buy local. You know, people up and down Main Street support me. We need to support them. Well, Made in Oklahoma kind of is the same philosophy, but on a statewide basis. These are products that employ more than 15,000 people in our state and add more than $500 million in payroll. These are companies who make products in Oklahoma. The particular one at the conference that I attended, and I have seen them before, were mostly edible products, and so it was really great to go taste test many of the items that they had. But I don't care whether it's like a pepper jelly that you can put over cream cheese and eat on crackers, or whether it's beef, or whether it's other kinds of food products, or whether it's household products or accessories. Please check them out, and if you have an opportunity when you are someplace, I would encourage you to see if there is something in that Made in Oklahoma booth or that Made in Oklahoma catalog that you may want to purchase. But more importantly, as small business women in this state, see if there's something that you make that could be offered there, that you can be a part of, because it enhances your marketing ability, it increases the audience that can see what you have, and it gives you a network of people to also help you as you begin to try to help your business grow and help your business thrive. So I'm a big believer in the Made in Oklahoma and MIO organization, and I would encourage you to check them out. They not only help increase awareness, but they can also help you with the availability and quality of Oklahoma agricultural products. So they can be a great partner for you. Today's economy, the last couple of years, I don't know if you all have seen it, but as I travel the state, usually on Saturday mornings, but in Oklahoma City, near where I live, it happens on a Thursday, I've seen an increase in the numbers of farmers markets that have been established in communities. I've seen an increase in the number of booths at the farmers markets that may have existed for a while. And this is twofold, and we know exactly why this is happening. First of all, people are growing more out of their own gardens for themselves. And they're also growing more for an opportunity to try to sell out of the back of their truck or of their van or whatever it is. And so they are participating in those farmer markets for that extra income when we have this tough economy. But the second reason we see that increase is because of the push that many of you as moms and grandmothers have made to try to improve the health of your families. And you know that those products that you are growing, that are grown close to home, you have a lot more confidence in what that food product is, and you believe it's healthier, and you and women like you are trying to help change the eating habits around the state of Oklahoma. And so we see more fresh fruits and vegetables, mostly vegetables in Oklahoma, but we see more of those fresh vegetables being offered. So I would encourage you to also check out the availability of farmers markets in your areas. Communities do it differently, so not everyone does it the same. I have visited a community that offers up the space for free. I know there's others that may charge a small amount. But find out what's available in your area and see if you have something that can allow you that opportunity for extra income to participate in those farmers markets. So I think that can help on several different levels, but it's something that is happening and I think will continue to happen. We have a great future in our state, not just for agriculture, but I think also for women in small business. This last year, just a few months ago, Oklahoma was recognized as the most entrepreneurial, and that's not really easy to say this early in the morning. I'm not going to try to say it again. Chances to become an entrepreneur, we rated the highest over the last year. And it was something like 57% more than the national average. We were creating more small businesses or new businesses per 100,000 people in our state than any other state. National average was like 4%. Oklahoma's was like 470 a month. Part of that's the economy. A lot of times as people are losing their jobs or finding that their work time has been cut in half or reduced, it gives them the incentive to think, you know, I've always wanted to do this. Maybe I can do this, whatever this is. Maybe I can go out and do it now. Whether it's sell from the home, maybe it's make a product, whatever it is. Oklahoma has become recognized as a state that welcomes new innovation, new ideas, and those ideas that turn creativity into a product that becomes a business. So you're in a good place if that is something that you want to do or something you're already doing and want to expand. And many of the people that you will hear from today will give you an opportunity to know what kinds of resources they have available to help you with a good business plan, to help you with resources or capital to make sure that you are doing everything right so that you know what kind of payback or payout you may be able to anticipate. Oklahoma is a state, and I think this comes from our pioneer heritage, where we're kind of a can-do. It's like, I can do this. Give me a chance. Let's get it done. And I'm here to encourage you to follow through on those dreams if you have them. This last year, or about a year and a half ago, Lloyd Fields, the Commissioner of Labor for the state of Oklahoma, met with a number of different entities in an effort to try to create a brochure that he thought would be helpful to businesses in the state. He believed, and I think he still has, he got Career Tech to help print a brochure. Didn't put all the information in it that we would have liked to have put, but he asked a number of different agencies to give him one or two of the best things that they do. So whether it was the Oklahoma Tax Commission, the Oklahoma Employment Securities Commission, whether it was the Department of Labor, the Department of Commerce, or perhaps even Career Tech, he took a couple of their best ideas of help they provide people in the state and put it in a brochure with the contact information if you needed to go and find more information from that agency. Often we found that one agency didn't even know the other agency provided that opportunity or that resource free of charge. And so anything that we can do at the state level to try to help you, that should be our goal. That should be our function. And I really applaud Commissioner Fields for taking that effort on. And so I would encourage you, if you have questions, to feel free to contact his office. But you know what? In your local communities, you've got those resources available as well. So whether it is through your local conservation district, your NRCS, your local district conservationist, whether it is your home extension service through the OSU office, thank you for knowing that you have those local folks that are ready and willing to help you answer questions whenever they can. They're there. They can't help you if you don't ask them, if they don't know what the problems are. And sometimes when you ask them questions, you may send them to find an answer that will help someone else after you. So we all have to work together. We all have to pull together to make sure that we're getting the jobs done. When we talk about jobs, one of the things that I always talk about is, what are we doing to help make sure that the next generation wants to stay in Oklahoma? What is it that you're going to learn today? What is it you're going to be involved in that will help the next generation also want to be in our state? We know that as times are changing, we're going to see the economy change. We're going to see the kinds of jobs change. But you know what? Jobs that involve the land are always going to be important. Jobs that always involve production from the land are always going to be important. Jobs that involve protection of the land and our natural resources are always going to be important. So I kind of get tickled sometimes when we have folks in the legislature who don't necessarily understand the benefit of some of the agricultural programs that are offered for our kids in school. Because as near as I can tell, that's one of the best places where they learn about finance, they learn about economics, they learn about science, they learn about environmental issues, and they learn about health and nutrition. Agriculture is important in this state, whether in the classroom or on the farm. We know that it is a small business. We know that it is important. We know that it is more than dollars. We know that it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle embedded in our values in this state from the very beginning of Oklahoma. This side of the state was settled with a great deal of partnership from our Native American brothers and sisters. We see them as partners in so much of what we do. West side of the state is basically populated in a horse race. People racing for a piece of property, but people believing that if they worked hard, that something better and good would happen. That's what you can do. That's why I think you're here today, is because you know that you're going to learn something to help your dream become a reality or help today's reality become a bigger dream. Thank you very much.